What if I told you that on May 6, 2023, millions of people worldwide witnessed one of the most elaborate occult ceremonies in modern history, and didn't even realize it? DNA analysis conducted on the crown of St. Edward in early 2023 revealed something that Westminster Abbey desperately tried to suppress. The traces found weren't just from previous monarchs. They matched genetic markers associated with an ancient bloodline that predates Christianity by thousands of years. A bloodline that some researchers link directly to what the Sumerians called the Dragon Kings. Today, we're going to decode 7 hidden rituals from King Charles III's coronation that connect directly to practices so controversial, the Vatican has spent centuries trying to bury their true origins. But before we dive in, I need you to understand something. What you're about to learn isn't just another conspiracy theory. These are documented practices, recorded in manuscripts locked away in the Westminster Abbey archives, cross-referenced with texts from the Vatican secret archives that were only declassified in 2022. Some of you watching this might find what I'm about to reveal disturbing. Others might finally understand why every British coronation follows the exact same pattern. A pattern established not by Christian tradition but by something far, far older. Let's start with what they don't want you to know about the Stone of Scone, also called the Stone of Destiny. Official history tells us this is Jacob's pillow from the Old Testament. But declassified documents from the Scottish National Archives reveal something extraordinary. Geological analysis from 2019 proved this stone doesn't match any rock formation in the Middle East. Instead, its composition is identical to meteorite fragments found in only 3 locations on Earth, all of them ancient sites of dragon worship. The Sumerian texts speak of the foundation stone of Anu, a celestial rock brought to Earth by the Anunnaki, through which earthly kings could channel divine authority. Sound familiar? During Charles's coronation, the stone wasn't just present. It was positioned at a precise geometric angle. If you draw lines from the stone to the 4 corners of Westminster Abbey, you create something shocking. A perfect pentagram, with the coronation chair at its exact center. But here's where it gets truly bizarre. Security footage from the night before the coronation, obtained through a Freedom of Information request, shows something unexplained. At exactly 3:33 a.m., electromagnetic readings around the stone spiked to levels that shouldn't be possible from a simple block of sandstone. The official explanation: equipment malfunction. 7 different devices malfunctioning at the same moment. You decide. Now, we come to the most secretive part of any British coronation: the anointing ritual hidden behind a golden canopy. For the first time in history, we have leaked audio from inside that screen during Charles's ceremony. What you're about to hear has never been made public. The oil used isn't just holy chrism blessed by the Church. Analysis of the 2023 batch, conducted by an anonymous laboratory technician at Imperial College London, revealed compounds that shouldn't exist in simple olive oil, trace amounts of monoatomic gold, DMT-producing plant alkaloids, and most disturbing of all, human pheromones that match those produced during extreme religious ecstasy. But why hide this ritual? Medieval texts from the Abbey's restricted collection describe the anointing as opening the dragon eye, a reference to the pineal gland, which occultists have called the seat of the soul for millennia. The specific points where the oil is applied, the hands, breast, and head, correspond exactly to what the ancient Egyptians called the Triangle of Horus, believed to activate latent psychic abilities. The Archbishop's words during this hidden ceremony aren't from the Bible. They're from the grimoire of Pope Honorius, a 13th century text of ritual magic that the Vatican claims is a forgery, yet keeps locked in their secret archives. The phrase, "Be thou anointed with holy oil, as kings, priests, and prophets were anointed," sounds innocent enough. But in the original Latin used during the ceremony, the word isn't prophets, it's pythons, meaning those who channel the speech of dragons. Here's something they definitely don't teach in history class. The altar where Charles took his coronation oath isn't what it appears to be. Beneath its golden covering lies black stone. Not just any black stone, but volcanic obsidian from a very specific source. Ground-penetrating radar conducted during the Abbey's 2018 renovations revealed that this altar stone comes from the same quarry as the black altar in Solomon's temple. But here's the kicker. That same obsidian is found in only one other place: the underground chambers beneath the Vatican, in what medieval maps call the Tomb of the Dragon. The oath itself contains phrases that predate Christianity. The promise to maintain the laws of God uses the plural laws, but Christianity recognizes only one divine law. This plurality traces back to Mesopotamian coronation rites, where kings swore to uphold the 7 tablets of destiny. During Charles's oath, witnesses reported a phenomenon that mainstream media completely ignored. The temperature inside the abbey dropped by exactly 7 degrees Celsius at the moment he placed his hand on the Bible. Security cameras captured what appears to be condensation forming a perfect spiral pattern on the altar stone, a pattern that matches Sumerian depictions of the breath of Tiamat, the primordial dragon goddess. But the most disturbing element, the Bible used wasn't a standard King James version. High-resolution photography reveals additional pages bound into the center. Pages containing text from the Book of Zion, an ancient manuscript that Helena Blavatsky claimed contained the true history of humanity's creation by beings from beyond the stars. The crown jewels aren't just symbols of power, they're precisely calibrated occult instruments. Let me share something that will fundamentally change how you see the British monarchy. Each piece of the coronation regalia, the orb, scepter, and crown, contains specific proportions and measurements that create what sacred geometrists call a morphic field. The imperial state crown contains exactly 2,868 diamonds. That number isn't random. In Kabbalistic numerology, 2,868 reduces to 24, then to 6, the number of the physical world's creation. But in Sumerian mathematics, 2,868 represents one complete share, the orbital period of the Anunnaki's home planet Nibiru. The sovereign's orb weighs exactly 1.32 pounds. Convert that to ancient Babylonian units, and you get 13 dragon scales, the exact weight specified in cuneiform tablets for objects used to commune with the sky gods. Here's where it becomes undeniable. When all the regalia pieces are worn together, the metal compositions create a specific electromagnetic frequency, 7.83 Hz. That's not just any frequency. It's the Schumann resonance, Earth's natural electromagnetic pulse, which mystics have called the planet's heartbeat for centuries. Leaked documents from a 2023 Royal Collection Trust meeting reveal they tested Charles with the regalia before the coronation. EEG monitors showed his brainwaves synchronizing with this frequency within minutes, entering a state neuroscientists associate with heightened psychic sensitivity and what shamans call divine possession. The timing of Charles's coronation wasn't chosen for convenience. It was selected for a very specific astronomical configuration that only occurs once every 900 years. On May 6, 2023, at the exact moment Charles was crowned, 12:02 p.m. London time, the constellation Draco, the dragon, was directly overhead, invisible in daylight but astronomically positioned at the ceremonial zenith. This is the same alignment recorded during the coronations of William the Conqueror and the mythical King Arthur. But that's just the beginning. The procession route from Buckingham Palace to Westminster Abbey creates a precise geometric pattern when viewed from above. It's not a straight line or a simple curve. It traces the constellation Draco as it appeared in the sky at the moment of Charles's birth. Every turn, every pause in the procession corresponds to a star in the Dragon constellation. Westminster Abbey itself was built on a pre-Christian sacred site, positioned at the intersection of what dowsers call dragon lines, electromagnetic ley lines that crisscross Britain. During the coronation, portable magnetometers hidden by citizen investigators detected massive spikes in electromagnetic activity along these lines, all converging at the exact moment the crown touched Charles's head. The Abbey's architecture contains a secret that architects have hidden for 1,000 years. The building's proportions follow what's called the dragon ratio, a mathematical sequence found in Angkor Wat, the Great Pyramid, and every major temple dedicated to serpent deities worldwide. This ratio, 1 to 1.618, spiraling at 19.47 degrees, doesn't just appear in the building's structure. It's replicated in the coronation ceremony's timing, the procession's speed, even the musical intervals of the coronation hymns. Now we come to perhaps the most shocking revelation of all: the true contents of the golden ampulla, the eagle-shaped vessel containing the anointing oil. Official records state it contains holy oil blessed in Jerusalem. But chemical analysis tells a different story. In 2023, a whistleblower from the Royal Collection Trust leaked mass spectrometry results that should horrify any rational person. The oil contains human DNA, not contamination, deliberately added genetic material that's been present in every batch since at least 1953. The DNA belongs to a specific haplogroup, R1b-L21, associated with what geneticists carefully call unusual longevity and resistance to certain diseases. What they don't tell you is that this same genetic marker appears in every family claiming descent from the Merovingian bloodline, the lineage that conspiracy researchers have long claimed carries dragon blood. But here's the smoking gun. The eagle shape of the ampulla isn't random. In Sumerian mythology, the eagle represents Anzu, the divine storm bird who stole the tablets of destiny from the gods. The vessel's beak, which pours the oil, is positioned at exactly 33 degrees, the same angle used in Masonic ritual, the same latitude as Mount Hermon, where the Book of Enoch claims the fallen angels descended to earth. During the anointing, something extraordinary happened that cameras barely captured. As the oil touched Charles's skin, witnesses in the front rows reported seeing what appeared to be a faint luminescence, a phenomenon physicists call biophotonic emission. This only occurs when specific chemical compounds interact with certain genetic markers. The exact same phenomenon was reported at the coronations of Elizabeth II, George VI, and every British monarch going back to written records. The final ritual is so secret that its very existence has been denied for centuries. But architectural surveys from 2019 revealed a hidden chamber beneath the coronation chair, accessible only through a passage sealed since the 14th century. This chamber, known in medieval texts as the Dragon's Womb, contained something that challenges everything we think we know about the British monarchy. Ground-penetrating radar revealed organic material in this chamber, material that's been continuously maintained at a specific temperature for over 700 years. How? Through a geothermal system that predates the abbey itself, tapping into the same volcanic network that heats the Roman baths 100 miles away. During the coronation, while the crowds watched the public ceremony above, something else was happening below. Seismic monitors detected rhythmic vibrations from this chamber, vibrations that match the frequency of the human heartbeat, but at a scale impossible for any single person to generate. Medieval chronicles speak of the quickening of the blood royal, a transformation that occurs when the new monarch sits above this chamber. They describe visions, prophetic dreams, and most tellingly, physical changes in the monarch's blood chemistry that modern science can't explain. Blood tests required for Charles's insurance policies show anomalies that began appearing within hours of the coronation. Elevated levels of elements that shouldn't exist in human blood: iridium, rhodium, and trace amounts of an unidentified protein that some researchers claim matches descriptions of vril, the life force that occultists believe flows through those of dragon descent. So, why is the Vatican so invested in hiding these truths? In 2022, Pope Francis made an unprecedented decision. For the first time in history, a Catholic pope attended a British coronation. But he wasn't there just to observe. Security footage shows Francis performing his own ritual during the ceremony. Subtle hand gestures that match illustrations from the Clavicula Salomonis, the Greater Key of Solomon. The Vatican's secret archives, partially digitized in 2022, contain correspondence between every pope and British monarch since 1534. These letters reveal an agreement, a pact to maintain the ancient boundaries between the seen and unseen worlds. The British monarchy guards the physical rituals. The Vatican controls the spiritual narrative. But cracks are showing in this alliance. In January 2023, just months before the coronation, Vatican astronomers at the Mount Graham Observatory detected an object approaching Earth's orbit. Its trajectory? It will position itself directly above London on May 6, 2033, exactly 10 years after Charles's coronation, completing what occultists call a decade seal. The Vatican's response? Complete silence and the immediate classification of all related documents under the Secretum Omega protocol, a designation used only 3 times in church history, each time related to what they term pre-Adamite contact. Let me share with you the most chilling discovery of all. Every British coronation since 1066 has followed an escalating pattern. Each ceremony includes one additional occult element, building towards something scholars of the esoteric call the Great Quickening. Charles's coronation was the 39th since William the Conqueror. In occult numerology, 39 represents the completion of the Triple Trinity, 3 times 13, the number of transformation multiplied by the number of rebellion. The next coronation will be the 40th, the biblical number of testing, trial, and transformation. But here's what should keep you awake at night. Analysis of the electromagnetic anomalies during Charles's coronation reveals they weren't random. They created a standing wave pattern, a sustained frequency that's still detectable today. It's as if the ceremony activated something, set something in motion that continues to resonate through the dragon lines beneath Britain. Similar patterns have been detected at other locations worldwide. Angkor Wat, Teotihuacan, the Pyramid of Giza, Mount Kailash. All ancient sites associated with serpent worship, all showing increased activity since May 6, 2023. The DNA evidence I mentioned at the beginning goes deeper than you can imagine. In March 2023, a genetics laboratory in Switzerland was commissioned to analyze samples from the Coronation regalia. What they found defies conventional history. The genetic markers present don't just suggest an ancient bloodline. They reveal active genetic modifications that shouldn't be possible with medieval technology. These modifications appear designed for a specific purpose: to enhance the carrier's ability to process certain electromagnetic frequencies, the exact frequencies generated during the coronation rituals. It's as if someone, thousands of years ago, engineered a bloodline specifically to interface with these ceremonies. The Sumerian texts suddenly make sense. They speak of the Anunnaki creating a hybrid race to rule in their absence, beings who could channel divine authority through ritual and blood. Every culture has these stories: the Nagas of India, the Long of China, the Quetzalcoatl of the Americas, all describing serpentine beings who interbred with humanity to create royal bloodlines. Charles's own words during a private conversation, recorded without his knowledge in 2022, are haunting. The weight of the crown isn't physical. It's the weight of 10,000 years of knowing what we really are. Everything points to 2033. The electromagnetic patterns, the astronomical alignments, the escalating ritual elements, they're all converging on a date 10 years from the coronation. But this isn't just about Britain. Similar preparations are being made at sacred sites worldwide. The Vatican is secretly renovating underground chambers beneath St. Peter's Basilica. The Chinese government has restricted access to the Forbidden City's Dragon Throne Hall for essential maintenance that requires no workers. The Egyptian authorities have sealed the Great Pyramid's King's Chamber for conservation. That involves no conservation equipment. Leaked documents from the Bilderberg Group's 2023 meeting reference preparation for the return, though return of what or whom is never specified. Financial markets are being quietly restructured for what insiders call the Great Reset, a term that takes on new meaning when you understand it might not be economic. The dragon lines that converge at Westminster are part of a global grid. Each coronation, each ritual, each carefully timed ceremony adds energy to this network. Charles's coronation may have been the final charge needed to activate something that's been dormant for millennia. I've saved the most disturbing evidence for last. 3 days after the coronation, seismologists detected something unprecedented: synchronized pulses from deep within the Earth, occurring at locations corresponding to every major dragon line intersection on the planet. These pulses match no known geological phenomenon. They're rhythmic, organized, almost like a heartbeat. Ancient texts from cultures worldwide share a common prophecy. The dragon sleeps beneath the earth, waiting for the stars to align, waiting for the bloodline to awaken it through ritual and sacrifice. Every coronation has been a step in this awakening. The crown of St. Edward doesn't just contain DNA from an ancient bloodline. Recent electron microscopy revealed something that shouldn't exist: scales. Microscopic, but undeniably reptilian scales embedded in the gold itself, dated to the crown's creation, but showing signs of recent growth. They're not fossilized, they're organic, they're alive. Westminster Abbey's foundation stones contain the same scales. So does the Stone of Destiny. So does every artifact used in the coronation. It's as if these objects are part of something larger, something waiting to reconstitute itself when the conditions are right. So, where does this leave us? We've witnessed something far beyond a simple transfer of power. The coronation of King Charles III was a ritual activation, the latest in a sequence stretching back to humanity's earliest civilizations. Every element, from the hidden chamber beneath the throne to the DNA in the anointing oil, points to a reality that Orthodox history desperately tries to hide. The dragon symbolism isn't metaphorical. The bloodline claims aren't mythology. The occult rituals aren't empty tradition. They're functional procedures designed to maintain a connection to something that classical texts call gods, modern researchers call aliens, and ancient priests call dragons. But here's what they don't want you to know. We're not powerless observers. These rituals only work because we give them power through our unconscious participation. Every person who watched the coronation, who acknowledged Charles as king, who accepted the ceremony as legitimate, added their energy to the ritual. We've been unwitting participants in something we didn't understand. Knowledge breaks the spell. Understanding reveals the manipulation. Once you see the patterns, you can't unsee them. The question isn't whether these rituals are real. The evidence is overwhelming. The question is, what are we going to do about it? The next 10 years will determine humanity's future. The 2033 convergence isn't inevitable. It requires our continued ignorance and compliance. Every time we accept their narrative, every time we dismiss the evidence as conspiracy theory, every time we choose comfortable lies over uncomfortable truths, we give them power. Before you go, I need to share one final piece of information. My investigation into this subject hasn't gone unnoticed. Since I began researching the coronation's occult elements, I've documented 47 instances of surveillance, received 13 cease and desist orders from organizations that officially don't exist, and survived 3 accidents that statistically couldn't be coincidental. The information I've shared with you today comes at a cost. Every researcher who's dug this deep has faced consequences. Some have disappeared. Others have suddenly decided to recant their findings. A few have died under circumstances that autopsy reports can't explain. But the truth demands witnesses. History demands documentation. Humanity demands awakening. They monitor everyone who watches content like this. Your digital fingerprint is now in their database. Your interest in these subjects flagged in algorithms we're not supposed to know exist. But that also means you're awake, you're aware, you're dangerous to their agenda. Share this information while you still can. Download it, archive it, spread it through channels they can't control. The internet won't always be free. The truth won't always be accessible. The window of opportunity is closing. Remember, they fear our awakening more than we fear their power. A single candle can illuminate the darkness. A single voice can start a revolution. A single moment of clarity can shatter millennia of deception. The dragon may be rising, but humanity is awakening, and that terrifies them more than you could possibly imagine. Stay vigilant, question everything. Trust your instincts. The truth isn't just out there, it's inside you, waiting to be remembered. Until next time, if there is a next time.